25%, based on the initial FRAP analysis methods. As a validation of the accuracy of this partitioning procedure, we perform PCA on the combined set of U.S. Caucasian Africans and the African Americans with putative non-African derived genotypes removed, that is, coded as missing. For comparison, we also examined the results of the same analysis, but including all of the genotype data of the African Americans. For these analyses, we included only the 3 African population groups that, based on the first analysis, contributed significantly to the African Americans, the Mandinka, Yoruba, Bantu. As shown previously, when all genotypes are included, the African Americans lie intermediate between the Africans and European Americans at varying distances based on their degree of admixture, which would make sense. By contrast, when only the putative African-derived genotypes in African Americans are included, the African Americans now cluster highly with the Africans, right? This result provides confidence that the application of SABRE has enabled us to partition accurately the genomes of the African Americans with regard to European versus African ancestry, right? So we know what history, I talked about this before. When we go out and look at the conquests and what the Europeans did, we know they went out to these African kingdoms. And I showed you guys all the ruins of these African kingdoms. They went out there, and these were the people that were enslaved, right? Again, you got to make that whole contrast, that compare and contrast between how is it that we have this group of people in this kingdom that seemed to be intelligent, had to be able to speak with these Europeans to do business with them, to do trade. And then we have the tribal Africans that was, separate. And for whatever reason, right? So we had, obviously, and when you go through history, you can see what basically happened. As I talked about before, you had tribal groups who, throughout their travels, when you travel and you go and you travel the world, and think about back then, doing trade or what have you, you're going into different countries, different households around different people. You become more educated, you become more refined, which they call today being educated, right? So this is what happened. It's a whole class type thing. Whereas I'm dealing with different people and I'm picking up different things. And upon doing so, it's going to change me. I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm not going to be the same person because I have so much more experience now. Because of this experience, I'm going to grow. I'm going to be different, right? So this is what happened. And then, of course, over time, that's going to happen with a lot of the people that's more in the business side of things and not so much the spiritual, right? Tribe, state, tribes. Everybody that was doing business did business. And these are the people that we had. Kingdoms, right? So, and the kingdom, that deals with a lot. So we know we had these kingdoms in Africa. And then after, gun and cannon, they basically took over. These are the people who they were bringing into America. And of course, we were already in the Americas as well. And of course, when you leave immediately, anybody who studies this, when you leave Africa, we see a DNA change immediately. So when you really dig into this whole thing and you start reading, when Africans left Africa, when they got to a different continent, like we're talking about within years, there's a genetic difference, of course, because they start eating different food. They was exposed to a different climate. Of course, a child evolving in that new different climate is going to look different. There is no biblical, holy, spooky fucking reason why we look different from them. We look different from them because Europeans were mixing in with our fucking bloodline. And we know they was doing that for the reason that they can say, dude, we're in the bloodline. It's still family. Now, if you want to lay claim to a land, especially if you using blood ties or royalty, then they can say this because they mixed in back then with those royal families, and now they have the blood ties. But once they took over completely, they cut all ties. They covered up everything. Didn't leave anything behind. Changed the look of all these people, all these kings and royal people in Europe. They changed it around. We know the Moors ruled, right? And when, Moors talk about Moors and being Moors and all the Moorish history and everything like that, they seem to forget that Moor means black. Not only that Moor back then was interchangeable with Africans, right? So for all the Moors out there and all those people that hit me up was talking about, oh, the Moors did this and the Moors did that, what have you, and then denouncing Africa and saying, oh, there's some type of different species than African people, then why is it that Moor was interchangeable with African, right? And there was never back then any type of people believing that there was a genetic diversity between people in America and Africans in Africa. There was nobody still thinking that even in South Africa, there's a genetic difference between fucking South Africans and North Africans, right? And the genetic difference would be the difference that would be in anybody, right? You're not going to be the same genetic makeup as the nigga down the street. You're going to be different. You're not going to be the same genetic makeup as even your brother, right? Unless you're identical twins. And there's still going to be some varying differences, right? Some easily spotted differences or what have you. But that would be the closest to your DNA. But even with the Moors, it was known, right? So it says here, Moors were usually depicted as being very dark. And the word Moors was usually interchangeable with Negro, according to the Oxford English Dictionary. In regards to this, several written works can confirm this description. 16th century English playwright William Shakespeare used the word Moor as a synonym for African, and Christopher Marlowe used Moor and African interchangeably. Author and historian Chancellor Williams said the original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. Furthermore, an Arab chronicler also described Moorish Emperor Yusuf bin Tishfin as a brown man with woolly hair. European art depicts Moors with African features, and I'm going to use quotes on this because Africa is such a diverse continent that has ethnic groups with an array of features and not a singular one. Having said that, Moors were often depicted having pitch black skin, frizzled hair, flat and wide face, flat nose, and thick lips. The Drake jewel, a rare documented piece of jewel from the 16th century, seemed to show a profile of a black king dominating the profile of a white woman. Moors have had a significant contribution to the world because they contributed in areas of mathematics, astronomy, art, cuisine, medicine, and agriculture. This, in turn, helped develop Europe to move out of the Dark Ages into the Renaissance. Generations of Spanish rulers went as far as to abolish the existence of the Moors era from historical records and dismiss the Moors making any impact on their Spanish land. However, archaeology determined that Moors indeed ruled in Al-Andalus for more than 700 years, Spain, from 711 AD to 1492. Longer than that. Let's keep it real. Here it is. You guys gotta stop the nonsense, man, and use your own damn eyes. Use your own eyes. There is no major difference from Africans and African Americans when the majority of your makeup is African, which is clear as day. You can look in the mirror and see that. I never really got into the E1, B1 and all that genetic stupid dog shit because, nigga, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Stop that. Like, stop it. We've been through too much as a people to be arguing with each other over blackness. Why is there so much hate for African people? I don't get that. By African Americans. We understand the reverse. We understand that Africans, I've talked about this before, they've been taught to not like us. They tell you, hey, you go to America, stay away from African Americans. They're not the same as you. They're different. Now, you look at this, and what I just read, everything I read, you got to look at this and say, well, that's weird, right? That we have genetic proof, and we have all these researchers and scientists basically saying that most of the, African Americans, black people in America, have European DNA, right? Or what do they call us in America? Black niggas. What do they classify every African in North Africa and the people in the Middle East as? White. And I showed you guys this, that the U.S. Census classifies these people as being white. So when you go and look at these people, even in North Africa, because still a lot of black people up there. Showed you guys that in Mauritania, over in Morocco. A lot of black faces up there, a lot of dark skin we know in the Middle East or what have you. These people are classified as white by America, but not African Americans, right? They have a status as being white. So think about that. So whatever floats your boat, whatever you want to call yourself, by all means. But, to go around and I see people put this information out on Instagram, there's videos being done and trying to make it like it's this huge conspiracy. Oh, African Americans and Africans are not the same. Like we're this completely different thing. And it's not even. So obviously, you leave out of Africa immediately, your DNA is going to change when you get into a different climate and you have an offspring where you mix in with a person. Specifically, if it's from that land, you go to another country and, if a bunch of niggas go to China and marry some Chinese woman and have kids, yeah, the child is going to have different DNA, but the majority of that DNA is going to be African because we are the dominant. We have the dominant genetics, right? The dominant alleles, right? So we're going to be the dominant no matter what. Period, point blank. We're going to be the dominant genetics no matter who we mix with. Now, understanding genetics and knowing that, one, if a black person and a white person have a baby, talked about this before as well. If a black person and a white person has a baby and that child is born, and then now that child goes and marries white, and then they have a baby, right? That baby's going to be a little bit more white. And then if that child goes to marry white, then that baby's going to come out white, right? And if that child goes and marry white, then you completely obliterate the African DNA over time, right? And it's just a white child that has some still African DNA in there, which basically is going to allow it to, be immune to certain diseases because that African is in the bloodline. And this is what happened to the Europeans today. Europeans cannot exist, and I broke this whole thing down. They could not exist in the way that they do as far as surviving under that sun if they didn't mix in with us a long time ago, because they were mutants. They were albinos. They came out that way and they mixed in with each other, meaning albino and the albino can only produce an albino. But eventually when they get with a black person and they mix in, they have that baby. They get that melanin back. Now, let's say now that baby mixes in with another baby, same type, that's more white. That's still albino and albino with a little bit more melanin. And then so on and so forth, as far as mixing in with what we call white people or the Aryans or what have you. Eventually, what happened, as I said, with the Asians is going to happen with them. Over time, you're going to breed out the African and you're going to look more white, but still the African DNA is within you. All those instructions, all those codes is within you. That's going to allow you to survive a little bit longer under that sun and allow you to be a little bit more immune to certain diseases. They need to have a black man in that bloodline. And it's a thing in Sweden. As I said, you go to Sweden, you're going to see a lot of Africans walking around with Swedish girls. It's a big deal. It's like a fucking designer Gucci bag to have you a black man over there if you're white and have that mixed baby. They get that shit. And it's just how it is. It's genetics, man. It's not a big fucking deal. It doesn't mean anything. It's not going to change anything tomorrow. It is what it is. At the end of the day, you're still African. You're still black, no matter how you want to look at yourself. The DNA, the genetic variation is very small. You're still predominantly of African. Now, you can go and look, and it'll tell you clear as day that Africans and African Americans, share that common ancestor being African, right? And that we basically all are. And it's just that simple. And some things are common sense, and it's not, it's not common with everybody, but it's people who have an agenda they want to push or something they want to say that want you guys to believe this. And make it like it's a big fucking conspiracy, a big deal, and it's not that deep. Understand who your people are, where you come from, and that the genetic differences in us are just that. It's just genetic differences. And you walk down the street and you see a genetic difference every single day. Plain and simple. We don't look the same. So clearly that's a genetic difference. You don't look like your brother or your cousin, right? Our family though. So clearly that's a genetic difference. Right? What's the problem? Still your kin. Still your brother, right? Unless you have an identical twin. I'm a twin. I have a fraternal twin. A twin sister, right? We don't look alike. But clearly, unless you have an identical twin, you're not going to have the same type DNA, right? It's plain and simple. So it's just clear as day. So wanted to put this video out here just to clear that up real fast. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. And I'll address some things in the next video, but I want to say this for anybody who made it towards the end of the video. I appreciate you guys. But yes, a lot of people asking about Merkabah Scholar Society and MPA. And I said this and I broke this down. First of all, Merkabah Scholar Society is completely different from MPA, and I broke that whole thing down. And it's a lot of people who obviously wasn't paying attention to their emails or they wasn't watching their videos, and it's people coming out of the woodwork, coming out of nowhere because they seeing me posting more and they seen the videos back up and they trying to, jump back in there. Hey, and that's one of the reasons why Merkabah Academy was done away with. Well, it'll be back. It'll be back in a different capacity, but nobody was on there. It's like the same 6-8 people on there. And I'm doing so much. I'm trying to develop so many different things. So much was going on. I couldn't really be on there that much myself, but I made the site for you guys to meet like-minded people and come together and talk about stuff. And I tried to make it something a little bit different from the social media experience that we have right now to make it more conscious. And I succeeded with Merkabah Scholar Society in that capacity because it's way better. And people didn't support. People wasn't there. And I was able to then just put it out. You had NPA and Never Pay Again, and you get all the videos and everything like that. And I was able to put it out and it wasn't a problem, but I wasn't getting the support for that whole thing. And then when my situation happened, there was no support, was no help and all that. So, this is why I did the society and me just realizing that, you can't do everything all the time. And that was at my own dime, my own dollar. I was paying for all that. I didn't care about bandwidth and everything that happened before. I was just knocking that out because, it wasn't an issue. But now I had to be more smart and, and get some help for this whole thing and get people to help pay for everything that this entails with Merkabah Scholar Society. So I talked about this before. I put the whole video out. Like I said, I drew the line. Everybody who crossed that line, who stepped with me, who understood what's going on and what this is about, they crossed the line. They are here in the society, and they've been in the society with the whole thing since it started. But for a lot of the people who was in Merkabah Academy, you guys, I sent everybody an email, multiple emails, did multiple videos. I sent you guys the link. Now, for people, I don't understand. Like, shit happens. I don't control the world. So I even set the proof up there. Now, Podia changed their rules as far as the amount of emails I can send out, as far as like keep sending this stuff out. So I backdoored the whole thing and made it so you guys can get into the mailing list by being a part of a certain project. And it was $9.99. I send the email to everybody. Whenever you get a chance, pay $9.99. And then you'll have ties to any new stuff that comes out. And that'll be the end of it. That's how we get around the email situation. And people, you trying to scam and this and that. You trying to get, like, come on, man. $10. Like, $10. It's not even that many of you people. It's not even that big of a deal. But everybody got to fucking wear tinfoil and think it's some type of scam or conspiracy whenever money is involved. That's why I hate doing shit with money. But it was to benefit you so that you can get access to all the new videos. So now you have people who are fucking years late. Oh, I can't get the videos from MPA or I can't get the videos from Podia when I sent the emails out multiple times for you guys to be able to get those videos. Multiple times. So now coming up, there's a bunch of new videos. So if you pay the $9.99, if you have access to your Podia still, those new videos are there and new videos are coming up. Bible series, all kinds of videos are coming. Mystery school, all kinds of videos are going to be coming out. And that's where you're going to be able to access those things, those videos there. That doesn't change. I'm going to keep my promise on that. So if you are an NPA member, when those videos release, you will not have to pay for those. Merkabah Scholar Society is completely different. We have a plan here. We're working towards something. All those videos are involved as far as the esoteric information I talk about. We're going to be getting to that in the society as well as some other stuff. But right now, we just concentrating and focusing on benefiting from what's to come, right? Plain and simple. Making sure you guys make enough money and be able to generate money to basically, live like I live, to do what I do, or better, right? To be comfortable and not have to worry about fucking going to work in the rat race and all that type of shit. I don't want you guys to be stressed about money. So that's what we're focusing on right now. Because once you get that out the way to where you're financially free, then you can focus on consciousness. You can focus on your studies and developing yourself in, other ways as far as, getting your spirituality correct and where you want to be at spiritually, right? Consciously. have a sound mind, man. I don't know how some of you people do it, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get up in the morning and go to work. I'm sorry. I can't. I did it before, but I couldn't do it in these years of my life. Like, you work hard when you're young. So when you get here, I mean, I'm not old. I'm only 43. But even still, I never saw myself going to work in my 40s. Like, fuck no. You kidding me? I know too much. And this is why I try to give you guys this information and put so much out there to help you guys out. And it's like, people don't understand it takes work, but it takes time and money. You got to invest in yourself to get there. Like, this is like, what's wrong with y'all? It's no fucking scam. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care at all. I don't have one iota of care to scam somebody out of a fucking dime. Like, it's not that deep. I know how to make money. So there's no way I'm trying to scam people out of, like, what did I give you guys that's a fucking scam? You know, other than information on how to make money and better and benefit yourself. Knowledge on how to grow spiritually. Knowledge on your fucking past, your history, your legacy, everything we've done on this planet, right? And then, knowledge is free. You ain't got to pay for knowledge, but you pay to go to school. You pay to go to college, right? You're proud of that. Oh, look, I paid the white man $100,000 to get a piece of paper, and then I can't get a job because nobody's taking this bullshit ass degree, right? Fucking YouTubers on here, little kids making millions of dollars a year, but you bullshit. You don't even want to spend the money to make a little bit of money, right? Everybody got a complaint, man. I hate money. I really do. I wish we didn't have to use it. I just hate it because it brings out the worst in people. And when it brings out the negativity to a point where a person don't want to do something to benefit them, that's a problem. That's a problem. But yeah, I digress on that whole thing. But for the people who are still not clear about what NPA and Merkabah Scholar Society is, it's two different things. So if you are an NPA member, then you'll still get the new videos that come out as far as Mystery School and the Bible series and ancient religions or what have you. You guys still get that. But Merkabah Scholar Society, we have our own videos completely unique for us and what we're doing and everything like that. So you guys won't get that. And you're on standby for Merkabah Academy. Merkabah Academy was never a part of the deal. NPA means never pay again for digital download. So you had access to Podia and all those videos. Now, as far as for Merkabah Scholar Society, the reason why, if you guys click that link and you've seen, it's a difference when you join. You can either get all of the past videos, over 100 and something videos, and when you join, or you don't have to get all those videos. And I had to do it this way because there's no, people are crooked as fuck. You guys know this. If I added the videos, then people would pay the low price and they'll download all the videos and then they'll fucking cut their card off. They'll stop. They'll fucking put a cancel on the membership and then that's it. Now they got all those videos. Instead of paying $300 for it, they got it for $60 or whatever the fucking price is, or $18, whatever it is, right? So I had to do it that way. No knock on the members, but I have it so for people in the society, once you make like 5 or 6 dues payments or something like that, you guys will have access to it on the app, and that's coming soon. So the people that's been with the society since the beginning, you guys will have access to all the previous videos coming soon when that whole part is complete on the app. So no worries on that. It's just in the beginning, anybody joining that's new, unless you pay for that, all those videos, then you won't have them until a few months later after you make a certain amount of payments. I had to do it that way because people are crooked, and I've had it happen to me. I've been scammed so many times, like it's crazy. It's crazy. But it is what it is on that. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch and ran on, right? Whenever I usually get the same questions over and over again, I said this before, I always put out a video. And this was something that kept coming up. A lot of people was asking me about, and I wanted people to just know. And like, again, in my mind, people know this shit. I'm thinking like, of course they know. Don't they know this? And I'm like, people don't really know. They just repeating the same shit that's online. They're repeating the same stuff. And this is what happened. So here it is. I make this video, let people know. And of course, you guys, go do your own research. Go look it up. But this is basically what you're going to find. None of us have the same damn DNA, man. None of us. So of course, we're going to have different DNA from Africans. We're going to have a completely different genome from Africans. We're African Americans. We're in a whole completely different climate. We eat different food, right? It is what it is. So it's not that big of a deal, right? still come from kingdoms. We still come from the original man. We still are who we are. Doesn't change that much. Genetically, you're just a little bit different. It doesn't mean you're inferior in no way. It doesn't take away anything. It is what it is. But understand the truth of it all before you guys put out this information as if we are some type of completely different creature. Stop it. But yeah, when the Hebrews were saying, oh, we're more closely related to Europeans than Africans, now we know that's bullshit, because still the majority of your DNA goes back to Africa, and it's bullshit. So whether you accept it or not, that's the facts. This is the facts. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch. See you guys next video. Peace.